Fambolo na kushe una adu una kabo. Mina Ambassador Melos. I'm okay. And I bring to you the Business Hour on the Voice of Salon TV. Today we get a very amazing person. But unfortunately, we're not going able to do the program throughout in a career because this person here now one of we own person then the victors we bring can today we name Korgba. Now, one of the amazing young Africans there, where they represent Africa, now the diaspora. Hello, Kelvin. Welcome to Voice of Salon. We are really thrilled to have you here. Welcome, Kelvin.
Hello, Maros. Thanks for having me. It's an honor and a pleasure.
You're welcome. I'm really thrilled to have you here. Welcome again. So, firstly, I want to appreciate you for giving me and the team the opportunity for having such an amazing, young, aspiring, and very dedicated young person in the platform today. Thank you so much for giving us your time. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so people will be asking, who is this? I've not heard about him. What does he do? Like people are really like they want to know who is Kelvin. So can you please tell us? We need to know you. Please take as much time as you can to tell us who this amazing young man is.
Okay. That question is always a difficult or
It always is. It is.
I'll try and sort of break myself down as best I can. So,
Okay.
Who is Kevin?
Yep.
I'm just an ordinary guy, trying to do extraordinary things. I'm very passionate about helping people. I'm very passionate about adding value to people. It's something that has always been a part of me. I describe myself as a leader, a follower, but ultimately a servant.
Yes.
Because I'm keyed into my purpose on this earth, and my purpose is to serve. My purpose is to better the lives of others. Of course, to achieve my own personal goals, yes, but ultimately, when God calls me home, I want to go empty. I want to have left everything, every skill, every talent that He has given to me. I want to put it all out here. Yeah. So that's who I am as an individual.
Okay. Okay. That's amazing.
From a career perspective, it says business consultant and trainer. Yes, I do those two things, but I'm also John Maxwell certified speaker, trainer, and coach. I absolutely love training. It's something I'm really passionate about. I'm an entrepreneur as well. I started my first business when I was 19. So
amazing. Can you please tell us a bit about that business?
Okay. So that business, I started that business because in 1994, when I got into university in Nigeria, Ahmadu Bello University in Nigeria, the university went on strike for 2 years, as was customary in Nigeria at the time, strikes. So one day I walked up to my dad. He was an executive director of an oil company, and I just asked him for some money to buy something, and he really sort of ripped into me. We always asking for money. So I was quite upset about that, but I decided at that point that I was going to do my own thing. I was only 19. So I thought about it. I spoke to my mom. I spoke to my mom's cousin, who was a man about town, so he knew all sorts of things, and came up with this idea that there was a shortage of fuel, so diesel, petrol, kerosene in Nigeria at the time, and my dad work for an oil company. So I decided that I'd ask him for a loan, and purchase diesel and kerosene and resell it. So I'd purchase it for a discounted amount and resell it. So I went out and spoke to a few friends. We got a few corporate clients, and individuals as well. And then my dad loaned me the money, introduced me to the depot manager, and said, "Okay, you go and do it." I don't think he actually believed that I could do it, but I did. And within a month, I paid him back the money.
Wow.
It was about 300,000 at the time. I'd started selling tankers of diesel. I'd set up kerosene tankers across, if anybody knows Lagos that well, there was the Lekki area. Lekki, I had about 6 kerosene tankers set up and had local women in the local villages who were selling kerosene for me. So I was already an employer of labor by the time I was 19. So that was my first real foray into entrepreneurship, and the business did really, really well. Wow. And then I moved to the UK in '97, and eventually I had to stop that specific business, but that was my first foray into business.
So at the age of 19, you actually had yielded to the calling of entrepreneurship. How amazing can that be? Wow. And this is just not any kind of business. This is the one very tricky and wow. Nice.
I always say
I clap for you.
I always say I wish I'd stayed in that line of business, because it was oil and gas, and I could have grown that business and gone a lot further. But my education was more important at the time, and so when the opportunity came to come to the UK, I jumped on it, and I ran the business from the UK for another year or so. But because I wasn't there to do all the running around, I eventually had to shut it down. So
it can be challenging for you to be controlling business from a mile away, but it's very challenging, obviously.
Absolutely.
It is.
Absolutely.
I can understand.
It's quite a challenge.
Okay. Yeah. So what really inspired you to actually leave Nigeria to go to the UK? Because some people will think like, oh, if business was okay, why did he leave? What would ask?
Well, I'm not sure if it was inspiration necessarily that made me leave. It was out of necessity. Prior to my dad being in the oil and gas business, he was the registrar of one of Nigeria's top universities, University of Jos, for quite a while, and because of that, he had made a vow that none of his children would ever go to study outside of the country until at least after their first degree. Yeah. So that was the plan. But with the universities going on strike for 2 years, so I guess he got tired of seeing me running around the house. So we decided to try for the US. That didn't work. And then we tried for the UK, and the visa came through. Got the admission, and in 1997, I remember it very clearly. It was February the 14th, the night of February the 14th, 1997. I flew out to the UK. I guess it wasn't inspiration; it was just necessity.
Because if the college have not strike, then definitely you wouldn't have gone out of the country by then.
Oh, no. I definitely wouldn't have. I would have completed my first degree.
You would have.
There's no doubt about that.
It's good. So I actually watched your YouTube videos this afternoon because I was like, okay, I've known Kevin for a long time now, but this is very personal. This is the first time he and I are doing like a one-on-one interview. I need to know something more than I already know. So I was like really thrilled. Okay. Guys, if you're watching right now, after the show, please go to YouTube and type Kevin's name, you will be dumbfounded what you're gonna see about this guy. Honestly, I was blown. Like, oh my god, I was already chilling with a big time celebrity in the Victors. I did not know.
Oh my god. I wouldn't call myself a celebrity, but there you go.
You are way more than a celebrity because you're actually impacting millions of lives, Kevin. Like, this is
I suppose so.
amazing. Honestly, guys, just go to YouTube, type out Kevin's name. His name is Kevin, Kevin, and Korgba. It's not Kabo or Koba. It's Kevin Korgba. His name is already on the screen. So just type out his videos. You're gonna see a lot about him. He's doing well. So I watched the video, the one you did at the graduation from the college you studied in, and guy, I was blown. I was blown. So how does it really feel like you going back to give to the students what actually you've benefited from the college? How did that feel that day? Because like really, I was like, oh my god, he spoke so well.
I have to say it was a nerve-wracking experience, but I was so proud. I was so honored
Great.
that in my entire class, the university sort of asked me to come back
Yeah.
and give effectively a commencement speech. And I sat down, for days trying to figure out, okay, what was I going to say? I would write and cancel, write and cancel. And then I came up with what I came up with.
Yeah.
I tried to be myself, but, pass on a message based on my own experience, passing through the university, the benefits and, sort of coming out and what they should expect in the real world. So it was quite an honor. It was quite a great.
It was really amazing.
And the great thing I have to say also is that I've gone back and done some work for and with that university
Yeah.
a few more times after that. So that was effectively the beginning. I've gone back there as a guest lecturer for the master's students. About
Wow.
3 different times they've invited me to talk on various things around business,
Wow.
around engaging with the African continent from that perspective. As you know, I ran a consultancy firm that was focused on going into the African market and bringing African businesses this way. So they asked me to come and give lectures to the master's degree students. So it's quite an honor to be called back by your alma mater to come and speak in any capacity.
It
Proud day
was
for me.
really
Proud day.
it was okay. It was really nice. I was like, wow, you did so great. So Kevin, why Africa? Why are you so much passionate about Africa? Because I see most of the seminars, like the one you invited me about 2 weeks ago, the one for the CEOs meet in Nigeria. I actually was
Yeah.
there when you gave a speech. Like, why are you really so much passionate about Africa and entrepreneurship and empowering the next generation? Why?
Wow, that's a loaded question, and we can talk about that for days. But look, the reality is, Africa is home. Yeah, Nigeria is where I was born. I spent my first 21 years in Nigeria before I came to the UK. I've been back to Nigeria every year since, except for the year I came, which was 1997, and obviously this year, 2020, which has been the weirdest year uh, we've experienced. But
Corona.
but look, Africa is home, and the older I get, the more I realize how much we've been exploited, not just by
Yeah.
foreigners. Yeah, we can talk about slavery and colonization and all of that, but that's that. But we're also exploiting each other and exploiting ourselves. We're destroying our own home, the only thing that we have. Yes. All of us, as many of us as possible, can fly out, to the UK, Canada, wherever. It will never be your home. That's just the
Yeah,
reality.
that's
Even if your children are born somewhere else, the reality
yeah.
is they will never be fully 100% accepted. And you always want to be connected to your roots. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm
that's true.
really, really passionate. I talk to this. I tell my wife this. We have these discussions almost on a daily, weekly basis. Um, I don't want to live all of my life in Europe. When I die, I want to be buried on the African continent. I want to be buried at home in my soil, next to my people, my ancestors.
Mm.
Yes, but before that time, I want to make sure that I have done everything I possibly can to be the change that I want to see. Yeah, and my generation. So
Yeah, that's true.
I'm 44. I'm 44 years old now. I'm still relatively young, but there's still there are two or three
Yeah,
generations between me
yeah,
now that can actually that have more energy than I currently do. So
mhm,
I've made a lot of mistakes.
yeah,
I've seen a lot of things that I wish I had known when I was even 15. You know,
yeah.
and I want to
Me
make
too. Me
sure
too.
that I can impart that as much as possible into the younger people coming behind. Not just about business, but about life generally, about life decisions, about things you should get involved
Mm,
with, about realizing that not everything should
mhm.
be about money. Yes, the money will come as a
Yeah,
result of you sort of chasing your purpose. But we have only one home. We have only
yeah.
one home. We have only one.
True.
I come from a tribe called the Tiv tribe in Nigeria. I have only one Tiv tribe. I have only one Benue state. I have only one Nigeria. I have only one
Yeah,
West Africa. I have only one Africa. You know, so if we don't look after what is ours, who's going to do that? I
that's
want to
true.
go home. I want to go back home,
That's true.
but I want to fix home so that I have pride in my home, but also so that people on the outside will not continue to look down on me and on my home.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, thank
So,
you. Guys, if you're just coming in, you're welcome. I'm Ambassador Maris Tamuke, and this fine gentleman here is Kevin Korgba. He's a consultant and a trainer, and he resides in UK, but he's from Nigeria. And today he has graciously accepted our invite to be our guest, and we highly appreciate it. If you're just coming in, please send in your text messages, send in your questions, and I would sure be reading them. Hannah, I see you. Salon Finest, I see you guys all there. Tiki Danke Ven, I see you. Send in your questions. I know some of you guys are business people already. So if you have questions regarding business, here is one way you can ask for advice for free, because out of this platform, you're going to pay Kelvin. He's a consultant. You're going to pay him. So if you have a question now, you can ask Kelvin. He's going to answer for free for this time. So this is your opportunity. You can send in questions regarding businesses or any other thing regarding what we're discussing right now. Okay, so Kevin, based on the
yes.
speech you gave, I like I started came up with the notion that you actually helped students in Nigeria to gain scholarship to come study in the UK at some point, because um, I read in between the lines that you were supporting those people back home, like
Mhm.
getting scholarships to come study in the UK. Like you were the bridge between like the college over there and the students who are actually trying, because it's really difficult, because here in Sierra Leone, I don't think we have those kinds of platforms here. If you actually want, you have to struggle online until you get, or you go through
Well,
Commonwealth or so. So you actually saw that there was a need, and then you said, okay, let me be the bridge, I can do this. So how did it go,
mhm.
and how is it still going for you? What were the challenges?
Okay. Well, I suppose so. There's a business lesson to learn from what I'm about to say here. So while I was studying at the university from my first master's degree, so it's Regent's University. I was within the European Business School, studying for my MSc in Global Banking and
Okay.
Finance. I looked for, it was summer. and I looked for an internship. I looked for something to do. I couldn't find. So I approached the university and just asked if they had anything. And they said, yeah, they had a vacancy in the external relations department. They needed somebody to call up students who had applied and, send them brochures, explain what the university was about and all of that. So I said, okay, fantastic. I'll gain some skills here. Fortunately for me, they were paying as well. So that was great.
Nice.
So after my second day, I was in the office with the head of the external relations department, and he was complaining that they had a problem with the recruitment agent that they were signed up with in Nigeria. It was a large recruitment consultancy run by a British guy, and they had about 70 or 80 UK universities on their books. And so because of that, they were not servicing them well enough. So he said, he'd really like to see if they could find somebody else. I spotted an opportunity. I said, I'll do it. I'm Nigerian. We're talking about the Nigerian market. I'm a student here at the university, so I know everything about the university from an experiential point of view. So I'm the best person to be your ambassador. So I'll set up. I'll become your agent. He looked at me and said, "Okay." Opened his drawer, brought out an agent's handbook and contract, and said, "Go when you go home, read it. If you're happy with it, sign it, bring it back, and we're in business." And the next day, my new business began. So the opportunity was there. I recognized. Yes, and I jumped on it, and the business did really well. At the time, they'd pay you about 12 or 13% of the school fees of each student you brought in that paid.
No.
So just as an example, I used to make maybe about close to £2,000 per student that I brought. So it was quite a lucrative business. And I'm surprised that you say it's not something that was that available in Sierra Leone, because in Nigeria, I eventually stopped the business for a number of reasons. But one of them was because the market became so saturated with agents, because so many people realized it was such a lucrative business.
Okay.
And then also the universities also realized that they could actually set up their own local offices in Nigeria. Nigeria is a huge market for everybody, regardless of how bad things may be. We have a huge
population. Sure.
Spending capacity as well, so everybody goes there. So yeah, so that was how I got into recruiting students, and I also used to. A few years down the line, I'd gone also. They sent me to go and represent the university at education fairs and all of that, fully paid. So it was quite a lucrative business. And for me, it was a milestone as well, because I had always said that I wanted to become an international businessman. And that was my first international business. So
now, what's so powerful?
They are absolutely positive speak. Very, very important.
Yeah. One day it comes to pass just like that, and you're reminiscing like, oh my God, I actually said
You
this thing 10 years ago.
Yeah, you have to speak. You have to speak it into existence. You have to speak it into existence. You have to put in the work.
What's up?
It's not just sitting down and speaking it.
Yeah.
But speaking the first step, and then you put in the work. So
the work, and then the manifestation comes in. Okay. We have some questions here. I think someone is asking you a question. Let me just go through it and let's see what we have here. Okay. Okay. You say Africa is the sleeping giant. As my teacher said, Africa is only sleeping and not dead. This is from Salon First. He's actually one of our very active members here. I see you, Salon First, I see you.
Okay.
And then he sent another message saying, we need to connect. I am currently setting a youth organization in Sierra Leone called Salone Delightful Youth Organization. At this stage, we are trying to register legally. Okay, Salon First. Let's see what we can do. Then we had
Okay.
another question I actually saw. Let me try to go through. But meanwhile, Kevin, how is it like? Because I
Yes.
know you're a family man, you have kids. There's this
Hmm.
amazingly beautiful wife who I see her. She's very beautiful. It's not that you're handsome, but she's way more beautiful, Kevin. So how do you actually manage your time? How do you manage your
Wow.
time being a husband, a father, and you're actively engaged in business training and also like the social
Mm.
corporate responsibilities that we did? I observed you were almost always online anytime we had like lectures from different people all over the world. How is it like to manage business, your personal life, and also to go about empowering yourself and also studying businesses? How do you do that? Time management. And also, when you tell me how you do that, also advice to all of us out here who are very much poor in time management skills. As they say, time is money. So if you know how to manage your
Yeah.
time, you can actually manage your money. So please tell us, how do you manage your time?
Okay. Well, I wasn't always great at juggling all of these things because um, growing up, one of the things, as men, we were always raised, you're the breadwinner, you need to work
Yeah.
hard, you need to do that, and that was for unfortunately for a lot of us, especially coming from Nigeria, and I'm sure a lot of Africa as well, that occupies a majority of our minds. So I need to go out
Yeah.
and work. Need to. So as far as work is concerned, wife, children shouldn't complain. After all, I'm actually going out there to win the
Mm-hmm.
bread on behalf of them. Yeah.
True.
So um, it took me a few years of marriage, and a few arguments and disagreements to come to the realization of what the most important things in life are.
Yeah.
So number one thing is prioritization. You have to realize what your priorities are. Yes, you have to
True.
work. Yes, you have to chase business. You have to do all of that. But if you ignore the people that you're chasing all of these things for, then by the time you find the things, the people might not be there. So
Yeah.
you need
Yeah. That's
to be
true.
very
True.
yes. And when I say not be there, it might not necessarily be physically, but emotionally they may not be there. Your children might be detached from you because daddy has spent the last 10, 15 years working or chasing business. You might be detached from your wife because by the time you get home, you're tired, you don't spend time with her, you don't, and
True.
vice versa. And so
That's true.
it's the reverse. It's not always the man, by the way. So, experience. I learned a lot of this via experience, and then I learned how to communicate better within my relationship. And my wife and I would sit down and talk about things, and then make a decision. Okay, we're going to do this, that, and the other. This is our time. This is our time with
Yeah.
the family. This is our time with the children, and then the rest of the time, I then split that into the various projects that I want to do. So goal setting. I write down what I want to do this week, this month, and then the various projects that I'm doing, and I allocate different hours of the day to each project. So
Wow.
that's sort of you have to intentionally go out of your way to do that. Yes, and you have to be
Yeah.
consistent about it. So I've used two words here that are critical:
Yeah.
intentionality and consistency. Yes, and that's not just for your life, but it's also for business. You have to be intentional. You have to be consistent. Yeah, and you
Yeah.
said something about time. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I actually posted a video on my Facebook page yesterday about time,
Wow.
and
I'll watch it
that was,
later.
yeah, I actually watched an Instagram live featuring one of Nigeria's most amazing motivational speakers. His name is Fela. Durotoye.
Okay.
And he made, such a profound statement that I had to put, create that video. He said, time equals life, and life equals time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he said, so based on that, if you waste your own time,
Mm-hmm.
you're committing suicide. And if you
Wow.
waste somebody else's time, you're committing murder, because
Murder.
life equals. Yes. So that's a very profound. If you think of time from that perspective, every second that you cannot account for or that you waste is a second of your life gone. You will never get it back. You can lose money, you can lose material things, you can lose hair like me, but but you'll never, you can get all of these things back except time.
Yes.
Yeah. So you
Yes.
have to learn how to manage time. Go out of your way, learn how to manage yourself, learn how to manage your time, prioritize, be intentional, and be consistent.
Yeah. That's very, very true. Very true. Okay, so for people actually starting business, Kevin, let me create a scenario here. Yeah, there was a
Okay.
seminar I went to. I was one of the speakers there, and then one of the participants in the seminar raised up his hands when someone was actually lecturing, and then he said, "I'm having a lot of problems with my wife." He said, because I'm actually starting two businesses right now, and there's so much pressure on me right now, and I'm at the stage wherein I'm not emotionally okay. I'm so scared that the businesses might fail, and I've invested all of my money on it. And then I'm not emotionally connected to my wife, and my wife is not understanding. She thinks I'm having an affair, and she thinks like I'm not present there. And he said, genuinely, I'm not having an affair. I'm not seeing anyone, but just because business is not going the way it should, he said, I have to put in more hours. I'm not emotionally connected with her, and I don't have time with the kids. So he gave a lot of examples, and he said he doesn't even sleep early. If he goes home, he goes home late. And when he goes home, he'll just eat and then he'll go back to work. So it's very much funny how we tend to overlook the most important things in our life because we're overwhelmed with something that seemingly looks so relevant, but at the end of the day, you see that this particular thing was not worth me losing my family for. Because some women, what happened is some women actually get tired because some people, if they don't have the same vision in the home. If there are two different visions in the home, one party is not going to sacrifice for the other party. So what
Yeah.
happens? They go. So what would be the advice to someone who might be in that situation, who might not have an understanding husband or wife, and at the end of the day, they may not want to lose their family and they want to have the business of their dreams at the end of the day? What would be the advice, Kevin?
Okay. Well, I think that scenario is a very common scenario,
Yeah.
and it can be quite complicated. But then again, it can be quite easy. One of
Okay.
the critical keys to unlocking that scenario is communication.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
communication. Within
Communication.
any sort of relationship, whether it's husband and wife, two business partners, boss and employee, whatever it is, communication is critical. And not just communication, but connecting as well. It's one thing to just
Yeah.
talk,
Communicate.
another thing to connect. Yes.
Yeah.
So in the case of the guy and his wife, I mean, I always say to everybody, you should know the person that you're getting married to. Should know in the sense their hopes, their dreams, their characteristics, what you can tolerate about them and what you can't. You make an informed decision when you're going to a marriage, because a marriage is, it's a very important lifelong. It can either make you or break you.
Okay.
Yes. So I think communication is critical. You need to carry everybody along, and again, I learned this from experience. Yes, um,
Yeah.
and going back to what I said about, us men being brought up to be the breadwinners, you have to do this. So he's trying to start two businesses at the same time.
Same time.
If I put my consultant hat on, I would ask the question, why would you want to start two businesses at the same time? Starting one business is difficult enough. Yes. The reason why he might be having as many problems as he is probably because he's starting two businesses at the same time. I mean, Melrose, you started businesses before, so you know what it takes. You know the late nights, you know the stress, you know the pulling out your hair. You pull out the wig, then you pull out your own hair. Look, everything. Look, this are part of my business stars. this is part of business. You lose a lot, okay? And that's just starting one business. So, why would you want to start two businesses? And that's from a consultant's perspective anyway. Yeah. So I would look into that. But he needs to be able to communicate with his wife. It is quite possible that his wife might be kicking off because she feels left out. She feels relegated to the back.
Yeah.
And she's saying that he's having an affair, possibly because he's going out and keeping long nights, even if he's not having an affair. The point is there's no communication. And when there's no communication, you make assumptions. And you make assumptions out of fear. Yes? What is it that he's doing? Why is he not telling me what he's doing? Why is he staying out so late?
True.
The guy is killing himself trying to bring in the bread, but he's not communicating with his wife. True. So she doesn't know any better. She can only go by what she sees and what she feels. Yes? So the reality is that, in a sense, he is actually, in a way, having an affair, just not with another woman.
Yeah, with the business.
Yes. Yeah, so if you think about it from that perspective, it's very, very important. And I say this again, I've learned this from experience as well. I've been burnt by that same kind of mentality. I tell my wife, any business opportunity, we have a discussion about it. I ask her opinion. We analyze things together. We look at the timetable. We look at, the calendar to say, okay, I'm going to be doing this on this day, on that day. What are you doing? So we've learned how to communicate. So, but then again, there might be other deep-rooted issues here that he and his wife need to see somebody about. Okay. But from a business perspective, he needs to communicate.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, let me just read out some text, and we have a message here from Hannah Dumbuya. She says impressive, and then she says sure, time is life. Yeah, time is life. So another one from Salone First says, I am a law student, but I have a business mindset. How can I make money work for me and not me working for it? Oh, Kevin is smiling. This is what he likes.
How can you make money work for you instead of you working for money?
Okay, for it, yeah. So what would be your advice to Salone First here?
I suppose the first thing is, if you're going to make money work for you, then you have to have the money in the first place to make it work for you. Yeah. So that's the first thing. You see, I think a lot of people, because we're in this generation of this entrepreneurial generation, everybody just jumps on the entrepreneurial bandwagon, and a lot of people don't realize the benefit of actually going into employment before you go into entrepreneurship. It's not everybody, not every situation. Don't get me wrong, but you need to be able to learn about business under somebody, if you will. Yeah. And employment gives you the opportunity to do that. If you have an entrepreneurial mindset, it would show even within a career workplace. It will show. Yeah. So you begin to earn that money, and you begin to save it or channel it towards whatever it is that you want to do. Yeah. And I'll answer that question with let me show you. So I sort of had a feeling that I would get one of these questions, so I kept this book on my
Okay.
desk. So let me show you. Yeah, that's the
Okay.
book. Yeah.
Think like a billionaire, become a billionaire. Scott
Yes.
Anderson. As a man
As a
thinketh,
man,
so he
yes.
says.
Yes. Now on the back of this book is the answer to that question. Okay.
Okay.
How can you make your money work for you? This is what he says. Yes. Billionaires think differently about number one thing is money. We look
Yeah.
forward, we look for ways to spend money. Billionaires look for ways to invest money. That's already one answer to that question. Yes, investing. We invest just a little. Billionaires realize investing is the key to abundance. Jobs.
Okay.
We think a better job will make us wealthy. Billionaires know that a job will never make them wealthy. Investments
Mhm.
will. So
Yeah.
you can see, I've just read out three different things, and all three of them have talked about one. There's one common denominator: investment. That's how you make your money work for you.
Wow.
That's how you make it work for you. Invest, invest, invest. And it doesn't have to be, massive investments. Yes, it could be
Yeah.
small things. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in stocks and bonds. It could be in somebody who says, okay, just as an example, I have
Yeah.
£100. And somebody comes up
Yeah.
to me and says they want to start a small business and they need £20. I say, okay, I'll give you the £20, yes, to start the business after I've analyzed all of it, of course, because you don't want to just throw your money away. But I'll say to them that,
Okay.
okay, I'll give you £20, yes, but I'll get 30% of whatever you make. That's an investment. That's my money working for me. So you get somebody else to work. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
It does make
yeah.
sense.
So investment, investment, investment. That's how you get your money to work for you. You have to
Okay.
invest.
I hope he learns from this particular answer. Okay, and we have another one who is asking, say, what are you worth right now? Your net worth. I don't think Kevin will answer that question. No.
I always, I
And
always, I always say this. Yes, if I won um, $1 million on the lottery today, nobody would ever know.
yeah.
Nobody would ever know because I'm not. You'll never see a picture of my car online. Even now, you'd never really see a picture of my house. You might
Yeah.
see me inside, but not. Yeah, so I'm not one of those. You'll never know what I'm worth or what I'm not. That's for me and my family to know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I'm
True.
worth enough. Let's just put it that way.
You're what enough. Great.
I'm worth it. Yes.
Okay, and we have another text message which says, having balance in your life is a necessity. Yes, that's
Absolutely.
very, 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 very much true because we've already talked about
Absolutely.
it. It's very much true. And he said, Bill Gates, who I prefer to as the angel of death, his money works for him while he is asleep. So I don't know why he referred to Bill Gates as the angel of death. I really don't know, but okay. Kevin is laughing.
I think
Kevin,
I have
why
an
are you
idea why.
laughing?
I think I have an idea why, but I won't go into that. Oh dear.
Okay, so Kevin, we're actually rounding up now. Like,
Okay.
I want to ask just a few questions. What would be your advice to Africans who are starting business or who are already in business? What would be your advice and how to go about it? And which sort of businesses, to be specific, would you give your expert advice to for businesses to undertake? Because sometimes we might feel that one particular business would actually be successful, which in
Mhm.
fact it would be like a total failure because we don't know, we've not been exposed to the international market. But like an international consultant like you, what would be your
Mhm.
advice to Africans, Sierra Leoneans, Nigerians, Gambians, all the African country? What would be your advice to Africans who are actually thinking to break into the international markets?
to break into the international markets. Well,
Yeah.
I suppose maybe so. I'm of the school of thought of starting small but thinking big. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so if you want to break into the international market, the first question I would ask you is, how much have you done in the local market, in
Yeah.
your local market? Yes, because trading internationally or doing business internationally is not easy because there are a lot of very stringent policies and procedures that you have to go through. So just to give you a quick example, in my consultancy business, one of the things that we did was to help African businesses that had finished products, wanted to take them
Okay,
into
ma'am.
into Europe or the UK. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you were required to meet certain standards. Now, a lot of the businesses that wanted to bring their produce into Europe could not meet those standards. Yes, a
Yeah.
lot of agricultural produce, particularly, is rejected from certain African countries because they do not meet the EU or global standards. Very basic, standards. Okay,
Wow.
so knowledge, you have to acquire knowledge. You have to analyze whatever business you want to go into, and you have to analyze it properly. By analysis, I mean you can do desktop analysis. Today, we have the internet. Yeah. When I started my business, even mobile phones hadn't come out at that time. Yeah. When I started my business in when I was 19, but today
Yeah.
there's access to information. You can, in your palm. All you need is data. As long as you can afford some data, you can get as much information as you want. So you need
Yeah.
to study the business that you want to go into. Yes, you
Yeah.
need to study that business properly. You need to look at the pros and the cons. You need to do a SWOT analysis. Yeah, what is it? What are the opportunities? What are the threats? If you're looking at going into even if you're looking at going into a different town within your country, you need to understand what the legal implications are, what the political implications, because sometimes some states have different rules and regulations. You need to understand what the social dynamic is. You
Yeah.
need to understand the economic power that is within that state. So you need to do a
Yeah.
full analysis. Okay,
Analysis.
that's
Okay.
and that's as standard. That's the basic thing that you need to do. So acquire that knowledge. Yeah, and
Okay.
see if you
Okay.
can find somebody who has expertise within that particular area,
Sure.
and see
Yeah.
if you can
That's
get
true.
advice from them. Yeah, because there's always
Okay.
somebody who has gone before you and made the mistakes. Stand on their
Fine.
shoulders.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Okay, let me
So,
just read out the text messages and then we just wrap up the show. So we have another one from Salon First. I told you Salon First is one of the active members here. He said, I am taking notes. This is very constructive. As my teacher Nelly Fuller said, Black people should stay away from each other unless it is for a constructive purpose. Another text here says, an American motivation speaker, Jim Rohn, said, if you're at work, be at work. If you're at home, be at home. Do not bring your work home. Have you ever met someone who is working at home thinking about work, and when they are at work thinking about home? Okay, we have another one which says, the rich invest while the poor love to spend. I am an investor. Is there a class I can join to teach me how to trade? Okay, so that's a question for you, Kevin. So, absolutely, there is, because Kevin is our principal at the Victor's University, if you guys don't know. He's our principal, and well, we are part of the shareholders group at the Victor's University, but Kevin is an amazingly young guy who is very much passionate. And when you see the equipo to principal, no super funny. He's well endowed. He's a very, very, very studious guy. So Kevin, having interacted with the audience and everything
yeah.
else, what will be your last word to our beautiful and handsome audience out there? What will be your last word?
Okay. Well, I'll keep it short, and I'll give my four P's. Okay.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
and these four P's relates to anything you're doing, whether it's your personal life, whether it's your business, whether it's your career, whatever it is you're getting into. Yeah.
Okay.
Pray,
Pray,
plan,
plan,
prepare,
prepare,
and pursue.
pursue.
Yeah.
Plan, prepare, pursue.
I'm a man of faith,
Wow.
so I always pray.
God
Yes.
first,
Even
God first. Yeah.
if you don't believe in God, believe that before anything is manifested in the physical, it has already been manifested in the mind of the person that has produced it. Yes. So
Yeah,
that's why I
that's
say,
true.
pray, then you must plan.
Plan.
If you do
Yeah.
not plan, it is very, very likely that you're going to fail.
You're
Okay.
going to fail.
Now, once you've
Yeah.
created that,
Yes, ma. I don't.
you need to
Okay.
prepare.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. That's true because there was a time we were actually having one of the lecture series at the
Mhm.
Victors, wherein they said it's actually two places that a product is formed in the mind and then in the physical. I remember that class when we took. Okay, so Salon First, you can actually contact Kevin. His name is using on Facebook. Can you please tell them your name because I know you have a middle name starting with T, but I cannot pronounce it. What's
Okay,
the
yeah.
name? The
So
full name on
you want
Facebook?
to find me on Facebook, it's Kevin. So Kevin. A lot of people make the mistake and type Kelvin, but that's a different name.
Yeah.
So Kevin. My middle name is Ena, so it's Terna, and then my surname
Yeah.
Korgba, Korgba. So that's how you find me on Facebook. You can
Okay.
find me on LinkedIn. Just type my name, Kevin Korgba. You can find me on Instagram at Kevin Korgba. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm on
Okay.
Twitter as well, but not as active.
No. Okay. 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 So Kevin, firstly, I want to thank you personally and on behalf of the team of Voice of
Thank
Salone
you.
and myself here. We want to thank you because it's a great pleasure to have you. I know you're a very busy person, but thank you so much to give yourself to serve humanity and to also educate and inform our people out here. We really, really appreciate you. Thank you for taking your time to talk to us. We really appreciate you. God bless you highly. And to my
Thank you.
team, the guys operating in the background, thank you so much for doing an amazing job for broadcasting this program here. You guys are amazing. Much love to you. And to my audience, Hannah, Tiki, Salon First, you guys, the other ones that I cannot remember, Mr. Kevi, I saw his comment in one of the other groups. Mr. Kevi, thank you all so much for actually sending in your messages, your questions. You guys were amazing. And please come online next week, Saturday at 7, because 8 was because we had a bit of issues with the time with our guest, but thankfully he's here. And also greetings from Dr. Bete. He had an emergency, he couldn't come, but he's here with us in spirit because he has already put in all the measures before the show. So thank you all for watching. Have a blessed weekend and much love from me. And please follow me at Facebook, Ambassador Maristamuki, and I also have a Facebook page, A Moment with Mel, which we do have interesting session, which is actually not for PG-13. It's an adult rated show. If you want to have amazing and entertaining information there, just check us out on Wednesday at 8 p.m. You'll have a lot of fun, feel facts, and amazing stories to keep you entertained. So thank you once again, and God bless you. Have a blessed weekend, guys. Good night.
Good night. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Why do a website when you can create an app for your business for free? Yes, with TAV App Maker, you can make an app as easy as pie. It only takes a few minutes. Simply choose a design template you like, add the features you want, and once you are happy with the results, publish it to Google Play and Apple Store. So your clients can download your app. Go to TAVAppmaker.com and create your free app today.